what they have to say and help everything to be for your glory. Amen. Okay, so our first speaker is going to be Katherine Henry from Restore Freedom Initiative. She's going to be bringing her daughter, Emma, up with us. Emma just had a birthday yesterday. So we're going to sing happy birthday to Emma. Being slightly shy, but she's really not shy. Sporting her Restore Freedom shirt. This is Katherine's unofficial assistant. I'm not going to sing in the mic because you guys won't enjoy that. So I'm just going to let y'all help join in on that one. All right, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Emma. Happy birthday to you. So I'm just going to throw this out there while we're all here. Someone else is having birthday.
Day. Thanks for coming. I'm very excited about the weather. We're actually having pretty decent weather. Well, I don't know. Am I on the east side of the state now? Okay, well, I don't know what you guys have been having over here, but it's been okay on the west side. Not as good as Florida, but, you know, I can dream. So one thing I wanted to do is to clarify, the Restore Freedom Initiative is the group that I started when I wrote the Restore Freedom Initiative petition to amend our state constitution. And that was actually the original freedom petition in 2020 here in Michigan. We didn't get enough signatures, but as you can tell by my standing here, the fight's far from over. So you're a trendsetter, Joey. So the movement, if you will, that I'm putting forward is Restore Freedom with Katherine Henry, because I realized from now on, I'm not going to be doing mediations. I'm not going to be doing bankruptcies or divorce cases or landlord-tenant or any of the other things I've been doing for the last, 2 years since I've been out of law school. I'm only in my mid-20s. But it wasn't supposed to be the funniest thing I said. But it's important that we keep the Restore Freedom movement going, as well as realizing that, there's the people side, and then there's the attorney who's going to kick your butt in court side, and so hence Restore Freedom with Katherine Henry. But with that being said, Restore Freedom Initiative, just to be clear, because I have had some people still mailing me petitions, that's fine, I'll collect them, but we're done with that. So unless Stand Up Michigan wants to start circulating our petition and get the 425,000 signatures for us, that's fine, they could take all the credit too. You can talk to them about that if you know them. Anyway, so there's two main things, I guess, that I want to share with you. One is an overall, what is Restore Freedom doing? who are we at this point? What are we doing? What do we have to offer for you? How can we plug you in? The other side is more of a background, a basis of why or how, okay? So I'm trying to think which one would be shorter, and I'm going to start with that one. But I'm going to start with the what. What are we doing now? We have, I mean, it's an insane amount of stuff that we could possibly be doing in any given day to fight for our freedom, because you would never have thought a year ago what's happening today would be happening today. I never thought we would see any of it. So, I mean, to think that, and I didn't even vote the first time for him, I'll admit. I voted for the Constitution Party candidate. That might not surprise you about me, but I didn't even vote for Trump. I voted for the Constitution Party candidate, and yet he is my president, and I hope that he continues to be my president. But no matter who he is, what political party, to have our president shut down off of a major social media platform because I'm not even sure what their excuse was. Oh, he was inciting violence out of some sort of comment that had nothing to do with inciting violence whatsoever. I'm just dumbfounded. This is not the United States of America that we see ourselves in these days. So with that being said, what's going to bring us back is really, you know what, I'm not going to talk about what we're doing because I have to give you the background of the how and the why. So the background of the how and why of everything we're doing and everything that you guys each need to do really stems from, let's first think about what the Declaration of Independence says. The Declaration of Independence tells us that we have a creator. We have God. Not this separation of church and state crap, because those words don't appear in the Constitution, by the way. We have a creator. He gave us all of our rights. And we create government, we institute government to secure those blessings of liberty. That's the whole reason why we have government. And to the extent that government is no longer securing the blessings of liberty, they're stepping outside of the bounds of their authority, and they need to be put back in check or completely removed. Those are almost verbatim what the words of the Declaration of Independence say. Then you move to the Constitution itself. Constitution is a wonderful thing that, I'm going to be honest, I didn't know very much about, even though I thought I did for quite a few years, until COVID. Until the ridiculousness crept to such a large degree instantaneously that it was like, whoa, I got to look more into this because this can't be right. And it's not. The Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, doesn't come outright and say, well, God created us, and God then therefore gave us our rights. But it said that we create the Constitution, among the other, 9 things that are listed in the preamble, to secure the blessings of freedom. That's what our U.S. Constitution said. Well, it takes a little bit of common sense to think about where would we get our blessings of freedom if it weren't for God. So we need to keep, above all else, we need to keep the thought in mind that it is based on, our entire form of government is based on the premise that we have rights given to us not from our government, but from God. The government can't just take them away. They don't have the authority to do that. God gave us those rights. Our state constitution takes it a step further and actually uses the word God. It says that we, the people of the state of Michigan, grateful to Almighty God for giving us our blessings of freedom, I can't remember the exact order of the words now, establish our state constitution. It's one sentence. It's for one purpose alone. None of those other clauses like the U.S. Constitution preamble has. Our state constitution preamble literally is saying we created our state constitution and therefore our state government because we're grateful to God for giving us our blessings of freedom, and we want to secure those blessings undiminished to ourselves and our posterity. See, now you got all the words in that sentence, just not in the right order from me. So those might seem, well, let's be honest, like if you read the state constitution, especially if it's in paper, right? Or even on your tablet or on your phone, if you open it up and you go to look at it, if you're like me, you pass over a lot of the things that you think are just formality or, they're not the important stuff. I can't tell you how many times I probably read the state constitution before I actually read the preamble. I mean, I was born in Michigan. I was away for quite a few years. I came back when I was 23 or 24. And, so now that I'm 25, I've been back for quite a while. And it took me probably until 2019, in all honesty, before I really read the words in our preamble, that one sentence preamble of our state constitution. And yet that really says it all. So it's important that we realize that, because you have some key concepts that come into play that tie into that. Okay, so you have Article 4, Section 4 of our U.S. Constitution that guarantees us a Republican form of government. The reason why that's so important is that if you look up the definition of what a Republican form of government is, it's a kind of government where we, the people, retain sovereign authority and power, and we simply elect people to represent us and to carry out the day-to-day tasks of government, to resolve disputes, essentially, is the purpose of government, so that we, when Mike Detmer is exercising his right to do XYZ, he's not therefore infringing upon my right to do whatever it is that I want to do, that we are each able to exercise our rights without infringing on the rights of others. That's really the only purpose of government. And yet we take it for granted that government gets to do so much more. Well, we can't forget those basic things. And that's why we have things, Article 6 of our U.S. Constitution says that the Constitution and the federal laws made in pursuance thereof are the supreme law of the land. That sounds like something super simple, and I know we've all probably heard it. Raise your hand if you've ever heard that before. Okay, exactly. But how many times have you seen that actually used to put a government official in check when they've done something wrong? Can you ever think of a time that was used? Shame on us and shame on our government. We need to be using that because they forget that every day. In that same Article 6 of our U.S. Constitution, it says that every single judge and state senator and state rep or congressman, everybody has to take an oath of office. Our state constitution has the same kind of oath of office, Article 11, Section 1. But of course, that one says you have to swear to uphold the U.S. and Michigan constitutions. And in reality, if you work for government at all, everyone who has a position in government, from the janitor who doesn't really talk to people or implement policies, all the way up to a governor or the president or whomever, they all should have an oath of office, shouldn't they? I mean, if you're part of government, well, guess what? In Michigan, they do. In Michigan, MCL 15.151 says that if you work for government, it doesn't even say if you get paid for government. It technically doesn't even say you have to be an employee. You could be a volunteer, you could be an independent contractor, you could just be filling in for the day. If you are working for government in any way, shape, or form, you have to take the oath of office that everybody else does in the state of Michigan under Article 11, Section 1, to uphold the U.S. and Michigan constitutions. So what's what's kind of crazy, I haven't had time to really count them all out, but the oath of office actually appears many, many times in our laws, in our state laws, applying it in situations that you don't even necessarily stop to think about. Well, school teachers and public university professors are part of that group of people that have been singled out by the state legislature at some point to not only have that MCL 15.151 obligation to take an oath of office, but they have their own statutes. I want to say it's chapter 400 something of our Michigan Code of Michigan compiled laws. But they too specifically must take an oath of office in addition to just being a general government employee. Are there any school teachers in here? Somebody who was a school teacher, who is? Just one? Two? That's it? Really? Okay. Well, public school, who are my two people? Yeah, three. So, were you a public school teacher? Were you a public school teacher? Well, public school? Okay. I'm going to assume Texas has the same kind of statute just because I love Texas. My husband was born there. It must be all about freedom. They have big hair and big guns, so they must be about freedom. And the third one, you said you were whoever that was back there? Did you say private? Okay. So, working in public schools, being a teacher in public school, were you ever aware that and maybe this doesn't apply to you because I don't really know about Texas, but especially you in the back, do you recall having an oath of office that you'd have to uphold? Exactly. She's saying no. I can almost guarantee you, in fact, I'm going to pick on you. You know it's coming, Becky. So how many years did you work for the state of Michigan? Almost 30. And we just talked about this yesterday, I think. Do you recall ever taking an oath of office? Nope. And she's a pretty studious person at her tasks and her job, so I can't imagine it was a fault on her own, but it's probably something that they slip into your paperwork, like your I-9, your W-4, and all that other fun stuff, your address, things like that. It's important. So I'm going to plant the seed that if you know someone who's in any government position whatsoever, school board, township board, county commissioner, city council, your mayor or your prosecuting attorney or a sheriff or a police officer, the list obviously is endless, right? Libraries, schools, fire departments. If you know anyone who works in government, print off MCL 15.151 and then that part of the state constitution that says they have the oath, Article 11, Section 1, and have a conversation with them about it. That is my challenge to you, is to do that, not even to one. I guarantee almost all of you, if you really stop and think about it, you personally know no less than 10 people that work in some sort of government capacity. I'd ask you to talk to each and every one of them at least once about it, even if you're not comfortable about doing that. Because are you going to be more comfortable talking to them now and planting that good seed, or are you going to wait until they're part of the problem and all of your rights are taken away from you and we're fighting tooth and nail just to breathe fresh air or be able to gather in public places? Nothing is going to be comfortable for you from here on out. If it is, you're doing it wrong. I'm not comfortable standing up here, to be honest. I didn't want to drive whatever it was, 2 hours to be here and 2 hours back. I'm here because we each have a job to do. So I hope you take that seriously. That is my challenge to you. In fact, I'd say 10 people between now and spring break. Make sure you talk to them about that, each and every one of you. And I don't know if we have any teenagers here, but if you are not even 18 yet, but you're capable of reading the Constitution, then the challenge applies to you too. So it's important that we recognize some of those things, and I was actually going to talk to you about some more of those basics, but I really want to apply that. What does that really mean? Well, some very intelligent freedom-fighting people that I know have been, I don't want to say brainwashed, but brainwashed like I have been, like every single one of us has to a certain degree. I'm going to say if you're in this room, you're already more awakened to the truth and the source of government and the source of our liberties than 99% of America. But we're still all part of the group of people who have had the wool, pulled over our eyes for quite a while. What I mean by that is this. Let's look at an example. There's an attorney who I will just say is a self-proclaimed Constitution Party attorney. Not Constitution Party, Constitutional Attorney. And he has been involved in some recent 2020 huge aspects that have made national news. I'm just going to leave it at that. Point being, he's someone that has been called a patriot and a hero by many, including President Trump. Okay? So I'm not disparaging this guy's efforts or his intelligence at all when I say this. And he's just one example. But when I had a conversation with him about, he was asking me how he could, what kind of statutes he could use, what kind of laws he could use. Is there a court rule? Is there some case precedent? What could he use to be able to argue that he needs to be able to share some information with the public that would help in our fight for freedom right now? Because at the moment I was talking to him, it appeared that the judge involved with his situation was saying that he could not, that there was essentially a non-disclosure order. And I said, well, there's MCL 600.1420. It's an important one because it says that all of our hearings are supposed to be open to the public, except for 3 exceptions, and those are spelled out there. What's important is that that statute was put into place, I don't know, let's just say like 1927 or something like that. But that premise has been in effect and been law since about 1850 here in Michigan as a statute or as a law. Common sense would tell us if we're a government of the people, by the people, and for the people who have and retain the ultimate authority, and that everyone in government answers to us, then all of those things have to be open anyway. But state law-wise, it's been on the books since about 1850. So you have that, and then you have some other concepts of, freedom of information, open meetings, those kinds of things. And the struggle this attorney said is, I said, well, obviously this order is unconstitutional and it's illegal as well. And he said, well, yeah, but until, this is a trial court judge who issued the order, until an appeals court overrules him or the Supreme Court overrules his order and says that it's not valid, you have to keep following it. My mind about literally exploded. I think Lori and Mike, my husband, and Lori, I don't even know what to call you these days. My BFF, maybe, I don't know. Freedom fighter, Lori. Anyway, they were in the room with me for the most part, I think, at that time, and I'm pretty sure it looked like my head was going to explode because I'm like, wait a second. You're a constitutional attorney fighting for our freedom, being nationally recognized for your efforts. And you're going to tell me that if a trial court judge is violating state law and violating the Constitution, we still have to follow that court order, that it has any kind of weight whatsoever? What does that sound like to you? To me, that sounds like the legislature, all of them, Republican, Democrat, whatever, telling us all of 2020, we have to let the courts sort it out. We have to follow these executive orders. We have to follow these emergency orders from MDHHS. Until a court tells us we don't have to, we have to keep following them. So do it, but know that it's wrong. I love the tweets that come out all the time from certain legislators and even the House Republicans and all kinds of other stuff, saying things like, well, you know, Governor, you know that it's time to give the people back their right to be able to open their businesses and things like that. You might read that and think, yeah, you're fighting for us. I read that and go, shame on you. Why are you asking for our permission? That's something we each need to have the guts to do. And it's hard because those of you who are believers probably have this, and even people who are not believers would probably have a notion of, well, we're supposed to have respect for each other, right? And no matter how you view Romans 13, you probably view it to at least say, whether you have to completely follow all the orders of your government, you at least have to try to approach them respectfully. That's the way I read Romans 13. So how do you challenge literally everyone in state government? Everyone. If you've met someone who's still in state government, who's actively fighting, truly fighting, and calling it out for what it is, please let me know, because I don't know who they are. The people that were fighting for freedom in state government at the beginning lost that title with me long, long ago. So we do need to find a balance. What does this mean? Well, obviously, I'm going to just call it for what it is. The left is going to be out there trying to spin and twist everything that we say and do. So when, I don't even know how many, but thousands of supporters show up for Trump on January 6th at the Capitol, and to a large degree, if not entirely, the people showing up to truly support him, including him, were just being patriotic, and, you know, they were demanding action, and they might even want to be physically present in the building that we pay tax dollars on and we, the people, own and supposedly have authority over. Whereas, of course, you have people like the Antifa leader who got charges pressed against him was in the last couple days as part of that, but we're getting the blame. I say we, I wasn't there. I have friends that were there, of course, but anything that you say or do to try to fight for freedom, you're going to have people spin it and twist it and turn it and try to make you seem like you were the one doing something wrong, that you're not American, that you don't like other people, that you're a homophobe or a whatever, name it. You're the bad person. Get used to it. You have to be willing to bear that cross in order to do your job of fighting for freedom. How many men and women have we lost in the military to fight, physically fighting for our freedom? They've lost everything, their lives. Sometimes they've made it home alive, but they've lost their spouse, or their children don't speak to them, or they've come home with PTSD that's so unbearable they're no longer the person that they were before. They gave everything. You need to be extremely uncomfortable for all of 2021 if you're going to do your job to repay what they have sacrificed for. And I had no idea I was going to say any of this when I got up here. Quite frankly, I'm totally off script from what I wrote. But I'm going to lead God, wherever God's leading me, I'm going to follow. So I'm trying to fast forward because I'm talking much slower than I normally do, but that's bad because I'm going to get through less than what I need to do then. We need to keep all those things in mind. And one of the best ways to do that, when you go, let's say you're going to have a conversation with your local township board, okay, or city council. You're going to go to your next city council meeting, and you're going to stand up and you're going to say, well, you're probably going to Zoom, because we're not having this meeting in person. The first thing you need to say is, this is entirely illegal and unconstitutional that we're holding a meeting by Zoom and we need to be meeting in person. And if you want help on how to argue some of those points, I hope that you're going to go to my website, restorefreedomkh.com. I have a couple places on there where I talk about that very thing, but I'm now also a Georgetown Township trustee, and that's a tab on my website. And I have videos on there, and I have outlines on there of all the ways we're violating the Constitution by having Zoom meetings for public bodies of any kind whatsoever. Don't be afraid to be the one that educates yourself and then speaks up, and you're the only one that says something like that. Don't be afraid when they look at you and tell you you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not an attorney. You're not in government. Are you the elected official? I didn't think so. If they ever say that to you, say, well, guess what? If I was, I'd actually be following the Constitution. We have to start at every single level. So make sure that you are going to those local meetings. Make sure, if you don't end up hearing enough details about the, what's the name? The thing, what is it? Just give me the name. What is it? Joey, what's the organization? Yeah, okay, you never told me the name. We talked about it before you had that. Sorry. Guardians of Freedom. Guardians of Freedom, something like that, or We the County, an organization that was going to kind of give you a little information today, not able to be here, but still another organization you want to check into. Things like that, or stick with Restore Freedom, because we have stuff jam-packed all of 2021, at least. Make sure you're plugging yourself into those things, because you need to be able to find ways to go to meetings on a regular basis. You need to be able to educate yourself enough that you can walk into a Meijer or a Sam's Club, or I would say the C word, Costco. And be able to know you're not going to just get in a screaming match with an employee. You're going to talk to them about what the law is, or you're going to talk to them about what the Constitution is. Are any of you attorneys? I know there's one other attorney in the room at least. Any others? John, you didn't even raise your hand. I mean, come on. Okay, so just the one other attorney. Okay, guess what? You don't need to be an attorney to read the law. In fact, our legislators don't even read the law before they sign it into law. Right? Yeah. Our legislators don't even know the Constitution either. I wish I was joking. So if you feel like you're not smart enough or don't have a high enough degree, enough education, a good enough professional background to understand our laws or our Constitution, please take that thought, ball it all up, and then throw it in the garbage and never take it out again. Seriously. If you think that if you read some of our statutes that they don't make sense to you, it's probably because they don't make sense. My husband, I'm going to give you an example. My husband was one of the people that was helping me with a recent court case I have that I had to file a massive brief for. Anyway, he's helping me. I quoted hundreds of statutes and hundreds of cases, okay? There's a lot in there. And anyway, he's helping me shorten it and make it better and tweak it and edit it. And many times, and it's not just him, there were other people that I had on the Restore Freedom team reading this, and they were giving me edits. And every time I'd look, 9 times out of 10 at least, I would go, sorry, I can't change that part. It's grammatically incorrect, I know. Or the spelling is not quite right, I know. Or the punctuation's a little off, I know. And they would look at me and go, well, why aren't you changing it? Because that's a direct quote from a court case. The Supreme Court, actually. So, in all seriousness, if my husband, who's a machinist, who never spent a day of his life going to college, who hated high school, and, doesn't, profess to be some sort of scholar in anything other than heavy metal or, some hockey, things like that, if he can catch those things that a Supreme Court cannot, I'm telling you, they're no better than you. I'm no better than you. They're no better than you. You need to remember that. And it might seem like a really small point that I'm taking forever to drag out, but it's very important that you have the confidence and the realistic expectation of what you're facing. Because when you go to these legislators, or when you go to even your county commissioners or anything, any government entity, and they tell you just no, you can't come in the building without a mask on. Excuse you? You need to be able to, number one, have the confidence to be able to appropriately argue back. And number two, you need to be able to educate yourself and have the confidence to believe in the education you've provided yourself to be able to do that. So very quickly, what I'm going to ask you to do is to really read the Constitution, even the boring parts. A lot of it's boring, let's be honest. Read the state constitution as well. And if you ever hear me talk about a statute, please read that too, because it means it's important enough, I thought, that people that otherwise think the law is boring would need to hear about it. To help you do this, I want you to know then what we're going to do. Restore Freedom, we are creating an app right now. And I'm not sure if we'll be able to offer it completely for free, or we have a lot of expense in it and all of us are working for free or on donations. Everything has been donation, right? I don't have a funder, so to speak. So we might have to have a small one-time charge for that. But at any rate, it's going to have the US Constitution and the Michigan Constitution, and you'll be able to bookmark and highlight areas. Eventually, when I get a free moment, I'll be putting annotations in, so all the conversations I've been having with people right here and things like this, where I'm connecting ideas for people or answering questions, I'm gonna try to put that into some sort of condensed way that you can connect those dots while you're reading the Constitution itself. Be able to match up one thing from the state constitution to its counterpart in the US Constitution, et cetera. That app hopefully will be released actually within a week. In that app, there's also going to be essentially a link to the web-based social media platform, We the People, that we created. That, though, is available right now. It's not on any kind of app store or anything like that at this point, but it will be, Michael, on the front page of our website, because I forgot to ask Joe to make sure to put that on there before I talked about it right now. It will be on there very soon by 6 o'clock. There'll be a link to it. It's called We the People, and it's going to be a Constitution-based social media platform. So you'll have to answer like 2 or 3 questions to get in, kind of like some groups. Like, I understand that the Constitution is the supreme law of the United States, something like that. And you're not going to want to incite any violence, like some actual incitement of violence, not like Trump holding a rally and then getting blamed. But that's a way for you guys to connect. And it's going to be a tool that's available to the Guardians of Freedom. That's not that hard. I just can't remember without seeing it in writing for some reason. For people like the Guardians of Freedom or the We the County organizations or whatever, to be able to connect and have strength in numbers when you can, to go to meetings, to support businesses, to demonstrate peacefully, whatever you need to do. So I hope that you all do check it out, even those of you who have totally written off all social media. If you haven't written off all the big Facebook, Twitter, all those kind of social media ones, maybe this is your ticket to start doing that. Because we saw what happened to Parler, and Signal went down, and then back up and whatever. So, by the way, if we do go down because all of a sudden in the first few days we get like 5,000 people sign up instantaneously, and we need a little bit of time to get our servers expanded, don't worry, we will do that. But that might happen to us. But I'm not going anywhere. And my dad is our main tech guy. And, well, he's my dad. So do you think I'm going to let him get away with not helping us? I'm his firstborn. So really quick then, we also have a print book that'll come out, because if you've tried to ever find the Michigan Constitution in print form, just curious, has anybody ever tried to find it in print form? Okay. You have the Michigan Constitution? Oh, okay. Apparently my phone's beeping at me even though it's on silent. Technology is wonderful. So the Michigan Constitution, you can pretty much only get in print format if you get it from a legislator. No more. I tried to get them so I could sell them, I sell the constitutions at my cost to people just to help get them out. The Michigan Constitution will soon be available to you, but I'm going to have to actually have a printer print it. So I'm going to print a all-in-one U.S. and Michigan Constitution. Whoever's texting me, stop it. And hopefully have some annotations all together for you as well, so that if you're in the middle of nowhere trying to exercise your rights and have no cell phone signal, you can likewise have that available to you. Also, I'll have an audiobook eventually for those of you who like to hear somebody explain different parts of the Constitution. I'll even be doing one for children, so that our children who need to know about this will have a way to do that. I just saw a volunteer for a voiceover part. Our website is a main source of information for you. It's going to be the hub for everything. Like I said, that link to the We the People social media platform, but all of our updates and everything. So restorefreedomkh.com, like Katherine Henry. I hope that you guys do continually check it out, even if it seems like it doesn't get any updates, because that will be a main place where, as new information comes out about the Guardians of Freedom. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that one. Any of these groups, I'm going to be putting information on there. We're also developing calls to action. We have call to action people that are getting videos out about different things, like don't go to the fake Patriot rally in Lansing this weekend because it's not really a Patriot rally, things like that. Or there's a legislative hearing coming up. This is what it's about. Make sure you go. Here's the date and time, that kind of thing. And one last thing that we're doing is we are making Blaze Network. Have you guys know about that? Glenn Beck? Okay. So Glenn has his show. Stu has a show, whatever. I don't know all the other guys, but they all have shows, right? We are creating the same kind of web-based type of TV channel, if you will. Holy cow, that's really annoying. And what we're going to do, we were going to have it through YouTube. That's kind of a problem these days. I'm not banned yet, but a lot of the people that I have in the works to be on this are already banned. So we're trying to figure out a way. Honestly, it's probably going to be hosted somehow through my website, so that if somebody's on BitChute or somebody's on YouTube or somebody's on Rumble, we'll be able to still do that. No matter where we're getting censored from, we'll be able to have one solid place to go. Please keep that in mind, because we already have doctors, primary care physicians, chiropractors, we have a sheriff, we have an attorney, a PPE expert, a Second Amendment expert. We got all kinds of people that are going to be experts in their field who will be 1 hour a week giving you an update on whatever it is that you need to know about, since mainstream media has permanently failed us. So I think those were all the things that I wanted to make sure to tell you will be tools available to you. And I honestly didn't go over really 90% of what it is I meant to tell you, but I hope that I was following whatever it is that God gave me as a message for you, and that you know You need to fight for freedom, and you have every right to do that. Thank you, guys.